it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Don't let that thing stand in the way. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Graham Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
If that doesn't get you fired up, I have no idea what will. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Dylan Tyrer. Austin Ward is with me for the Buckeye Show. We've got a good one today. We've got a lot to talk about, of course. The Memorial just finishing up over the weekend at Jack's Place, Muirfield Village Golf Club.
Did you get out there?
Oh, yeah. I was out there, I was out there on Saturday enjoying the tournament, and then I hosted Fan Sports Sunday with DeVere.
That's the way to do it.
Did you?
We got out yesterday. The best day of weather that we had over over the last week, I guess. Wasn't sure if we were going to make it out, but my daughter on Saturday was like, this is our family tradition. We go to the Memorial every year. And it's like, okay, you want to? Sure. And then I just kept watching. I was like, I feel like the secondary market is going to drop out. I don't know why. I'm going to just take my chances. I mean, just got some patron badges for $50 on Sunday morning. It's like, here we go. And it was beautiful out there. Hung out. We parked at Bridge Park for the first time. So took the shuttle over there.
Yep.
Made it a little bit easier to get in and out. So I'll definitely be doing that again, and hung out around 10. Saw Scottie's only bogey of the weekend when we were there. So made a little bit of history, but it was great. Rhyme time, you get out?
Yeah, I was out there quite a bit. Saw Steph on Wednesday, and that massive crowd that he drew. It was almost like a Tiger crowd. Then spent most of the day out there Friday. At the time, I saw Scottie tee off. I saw him on hole 4 and 5, and I had to get back here for the Buckeye Show. But I followed, at the time, it was like Ludwig and Victor Hovland and Morikawa. And Morikawa was in the lead at the time, and then he fell off drastically. And then went out Sunday and was doing updates from out there, and between updates would go out and check out some of the golf, and then saw Scottie tee off and dipped out to go home and watch it.
I made a pretty big mistake earlier this week. I went up there to get my credential for the weekend, and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, if I want to get some merch, now's probably the time, right? Like, you go early, later in the week, they're cleared out of stuff. And I went into the main merch tent there that was kind of by where the 97-1 setup was. And I looked at the selection of hats, and there wasn't a whole lot that I liked. There was one that kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, okay, I'll go with this one. And then I'm walking around, and I'm seeing some other hats, and I'm like, where did people get these? And then I get in my car and leave. I wasn't there for a long time, and I'm like, damn, I should have went into the real pro shop, the Clubhouse pro shop.
That is where the selection is.
About it. And lo and behold,
assuming that Reimer left any behind.
Right. I was going to say he's got his nice Jack's Place hat on over there, which actually made me think of all this. But yeah, I didn't even think about going in there, and it was such a rookie move. I worked at Muirfield during college, and so I know my way around the place, and I was beating myself up over it. I was like, man, I could have gotten a cool hat, but it's all right. I bet
they'll be back next year.
I was going to say, we live and learn, and I think the merchandise is only going to get better every year.
The big thing, though, about this year was the 50th playing of the tournament.
That's true.
You had some of those shirts in there, and there were some on Thursday when I was looking around, but I already have a Memorial T-shirt, and it has like the little patch of the logo on the chest, and on the back it has like the walk-up 18 with the clubhouse. Mm-hmm. And some of the green shirts in there looked very similar to what I have, and I'm like, it's almost like I'm duplicating a little bit. Yeah. But then I caught this one that I'm also wearing on Sunday that has a smaller patch, and it has the 50th on it. So I was like, okay, I got to get it because this is the one time.
You're going all out in the last month with the golf merch.
Yeah, you want what? PGA Championship into this?
Are you spending everything you make at the station on golf merch?
Hey, you should have seen it when I came back. I was wearing something different every day. I had a T-shirt on, I think the Monday I came back, and then a quarter zip the next day, and then my hat that I bought down there too.
That's the thing. I went into the Clubhouse Pro Shop yesterday, and I had a cooler hat than I bought in hand, and I thought to myself, what are you doing? You already spent the money on one hat. Do you really need two Memorial hats? So I backed off. I said, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath here, show a little bit of composure, tossed it back on the shelf. We're going to regroup and do it all over again next year. That's the hope. That is the hope.
I think we're 2 weeks away from Reimer just heading over to Pittsburgh and bringing back a truckload of Oakmont gear.
At this rate, you don't even need to go, right? You can just hop on the U.S. Open website or go to Imperial. They have all the stuff already.
Right.
Just say, I wasn't there, but I got the merch. It's kind of my thing in the year 2025, right?
I went to Pinehurst last year after the U.S. Open and came away with a golf shirt and a hat. So
that is my hat right now that I'm wearing. I was there last year, and I got the hat, and that's what I've been wearing golfing. Ryan Day, he played in the Pro-Am this week. He was with a couple of Alabama lads out on the course, Justin Thomas and Nick Saban. I was surprised some of the comments from Ryan Day talking about how he had to be convinced to play, a little bit nervous over the ball. And, I think we did see Justin Spieth hit it into the crowd a couple of times, right? And I think that was Ryan Day's fear.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt anybody out there. Peyton Manning was spraying it all over the place. Nance said on the broadcast that he still shot 71, so we only saw the bad stuff. I guess he made 6 birdies in the Pro-Am as well.
Peyton Manning shot 71?
Apparently, that's what Jim Nance said.
do we know what Ryan Day and Nick Saban shot? Because I never heard that until, Nance said it.
I didn't see a definitive score for Ryan Day. That is my mission for the next couple weeks as recruiting camps are going on, to ask him how he played, because I had a chance to play with, sometimes you get these reminders. You see him swing, the competitiveness is in there, and you're like, oh, this guy he was a collegiate quarterback. He's an athlete, but he doesn't get to practice that much. So he was joking with me last summer. We were playing in the Roosters coaches outing. He's like, well, you've got to give me a stroke because I'm an 11, and he said that he's a 12. I just watch him swing, and he can really move. Like, he is an athlete, was an athlete, still is an athlete, will always be an athlete with that great quarterback hand-eye coordination. I'm like, there's no way you're a 12. It's like I play 4 times a year. I'm trying to win a national championship. But when he gets into that, you can just see, you knew that he'd want to play well, knew that he'd been on the range, and he said his goal was not to hurt anybody. He didn't. So he accomplished that one.
Have you ever played out there before?
I've never played out there.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to either. I would obviously really, really like to, but man, I think that course would just kick your butt.
It doesn't look like it would be fun.
No.
I mean, I get worn out just walking it.
I was going to say that's half the battle, right? Is physically going up and down there, and then you've got to deal with the rough. And of course, if it's windy, we saw the wind in the factor that played on the weekend. It made it really, really difficult. I think on Saturday, only 10 guys shot under par, something like that, out of the entire field. So yeah, it's tough on those guys. Imagine what it would do to us.
Am I crazy for thinking that I would break 90?
Yes.
The biggest thing is keeping the ball out of the rough, and my strength is off the tee. So I feel like I would be fine there, and if just get it around the green, maybe scratch out a couple pars and just try to play bogey golf.
Did you guys hear that hypothetical around the Masters that, if you were to place the ball on the greens just putting, would you be able to break par
I did
there?
hear that. Those greens are nuts too.
I know, do you think you could do that? Do you think you would break par putting at Augusta?
I love all the hypotheticals about it, because I think Beamer was asking, he's like, what if you could start 100 yards away from the green? What do you think you'd shoot at the Masters? Are you still going to shoot? I'm like, I'm not breaking 90 from 100 yards out. And I know what I'm doing. I'm not good, but I am, as they would say on the broadcast, better than most. When you think about how hard it is to play this game, just to get down below being a bogey golfer takes a lot of work. I've gone the other way. My handicap's continuing to grow and grow and grow because I've now just decided to drink more when I'm playing golf and not compete. Everybody's got to make choices in their life, but still 100 yards or starting on the green. And even I think on, just standing behind 10 yesterday, Reimer, they were having such a heck of a time. If you missed that green, you weren't getting up and down. I mean, we were watching the last 5 groups in a row come through and out, 2 bogeys, a scrambling par. Scottie makes bogey there. And my wife's like, are we going to see anything to cheer about on this hole? And Sepp Straka hits the green, back right, it spins off, it goes down in that collection area, and then, duffs a chip into the bunker. It's so hard out there. I think the Muirfield Village is the same way as the Masters in a lot of, and no surprise. I mean, a lot of it's modeled after.
Well, think about 16 at Muirfield Village. You're laying up on a par 3, essentially, right? That's one of those tough ones.
And you got 12 over the water. That was playing very difficult on Sunday, too. I felt like every time I saw something or checked a leaderboard, people were just collapsing on that one with either a bogey or a double or something like that.
Well,
Thank goodness they made 16 easier, quote unquote.
Yeah, seriously. I told you guys we got a big show. We've got a new college football playoff model gaining steam. We've got to talk about that. That'll be around 6:30. At 7 o'clock, we've got the college football pulse. And, of course, we'll finish things up with hashtag Buckeyes. Before we take a break, got to remind you that we'd love for you to join us for the inaugural 97.1 The Fan, the race, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. It's a 5K run and a 1-mile walk happening June 21st at Otterbein University in Westerville. Let me tell you, if we can do it, you can do it. Some of your favorite fan personalities will be there. Tyvis Powell, Common Man, T-Bone, Eric Reeser, and more. And yes, he's just outside right now, but 10 TV's Adam King will be running the race in a suit and tie. Every participant gets a finisher's medal, a race shirt, free photos, and awesome gifts from Logan Services and Raising Cane's. To sign up, simply go to 971thefan.com. Again, a big Buckeye show. Dylan Tyrer, Austin Ward, and Rhyme Time with you. We've talked about it plenty. The noon kick to start the season against Texas. I know Buckeye fans aren't too happy about it, but what does the athletic director, Ross Bjork, have to say about it? We'll tell you next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town-properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Get enough of your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts. And for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of sunshine, light winds, and a perfect start to the week. Temperatures running in the mid to upper 70s on this Monday afternoon and evening. Overnight down to the low to mid 50s with fair skies and light winds. Plenty of sunshine, a bit of haze on Tuesday, and warmer with highs back in the low to mid 80s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
Someone out there probably thinks we spend too much time talking about the Buckeyes. Please tell someone that they're stupid. You're listening to the Buckeye Show.
So I was doing a little bit of driving last week, and I was listening to Bishop and Friends.
Okay.
And
good start.
Yes, they were talking broadcasters, like some of their favorite broadcast duos and their favorite play-by-play guys. And somebody brought up Gus Johnson, and I didn't know that I was ready for football until I heard Ryan Baker do a Gus Johnson impression. He said, "The world famous." And I heard him say that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready." And I was on 315, like right around the athletic campus at Ohio State too. I was like, "Yeah, we'll get a little chill in the air." I know it was cold actually this last week. We had the chill in the air, but I was thinking, man, get me to like late September, October, November. The world famous. Man, I can't wait for that.
I want to say 50-ish days until Ohio State will be out there in Las Vegas, or three Buckeyes and Ryan Day for Big Ten Media Days. So that'll be here before you know it. And then they confirmed with the kickoff week that they have scheduled, basically telling us when that first practice will be. So July 31st, and fans can get tickets. I think they're on sale today. There's 750 tickets available for all 3 of those first few practices. But that's coming. Dylan, that's inside 2 months now.
Yeah, and last week they announced the non-conference schedule with the different TV games and everything like that. So you've got Texas. It was rumored to be a noon kick, big noon kickoff.
I know you were excited for it.
I was. So it's official. That's there. You've got Grambling week 2 for Ohio State right here in Columbus, BTN, 3:30 kick, and then you do have a night game, 7 o'clock against Ohio University, which I'm excited for. I think it'll be cool to see those teams play again. But I know what everybody's concerned about is the big noon kickoff to begin the season. I will admit, when you have teams facing off of these teams' caliber, what's it going to be, a 1-2 matchup potentially? It's going to be a top 5 matchup to start the season.
It feels like the absolute worst that it could be, quote unquote worst, is 2 versus 3.
Yeah.
We'll see how many voters want to get wild and put James Franklin at number 1. I don't recommend doing that, but they could. Texas is, and I think that there's just such a groundswell. People don't like to vote for the same teams over and over. They like the variety. They want to start some conversation with their preseason votes. So I don't think Ohio State will check in at number 1. We'll see how many people decide to roll with Arch Manning and put him number 1. But we're either talking 1 versus 3 or 2 versus 3. Some combination of that. I don't feel like it's going to be 1 versus 2, but that could very well be the case at the end of the year. Either way, we're talking top 3 matchup.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is, yes, I know when teams like this face off, it feels like it should be a night game, right? But as far as it goes with the TV breakdown, the rights, who's paying the bills, Fox has first pick at this game, right? It's a premier Big Ten game for Ohio State, and they've got their choice. And they're going to pick the biggest game, right? Big noon kickoff. I understand it. What I do find interesting is that Ohio State had the deal in place with Fox to move this to a Sunday night game. So there was that wiggle room.
Yep.
But Texas says no. Texas doesn't want a short week. I think that's a bit of an excuse, of course. Their week 2 matchups against San Jose State, so I think they're going to be okay.
Doubt the starters are going to play much against San Jose State anyway.
Right. But a Sunday night matchup in the shoe to start the season, that's going to be a lot of juice, and I don't think you want to put yourself in that hole without really having to, right?
No, and look, we can make fun of Texas for not wanting to move this game.
Anybody would do it.
If the shoe was on the other foot, pun not intended, Ohio State is not going to be making it easier for Texas to enhance their atmosphere. They're going to have to go there next year. Now, that game probably will be at night. They don't need to move it to a different game, a different day of the week. But, Texas, I think they would have been better off if they had just said, you know what? Let them dial it up for a noon game. Let their fans get ready and issue the challenge that way rather than saying, well, short week, or we want to be home for church, or, there's other factors that are involved. Even locally, Ohio State and Ross Bjork wanted to make this move. They did everything they could to make it happen. You still have to move around the schedules for everyone who works at the game. You have to deal with the traffic patterns. It is easier, in theory and hypothetically, to do that during the holiday weekend, but that also does come with other complications. A lot of these things and the plans are made months and months, and in some cases years in advance, to be ready to host something like Ohio State versus Texas. So even from the Ohio State side, I applaud them. Again, I say this over and over and over. Reimer, I'm a what? A
press box
snob. That's right. He's got it. That's the reputation here. And I would have to say that I've earned it. So I empathize fully with the fans. They don't like the noon games. They want a full day for the prime time. They want to, they want variety in the schedule. I get all that part. But you should, if you're still upset and frustrated that you didn't get that for this matchup, the fact that Ross Bjork and Ryan Day are out there telling Fox, we're unhappy about this. Let's find a different solution. And if we can't do it for this one, maybe it will be for Penn State, or maybe it'll be for 2 years down the road. Maybe it'll be in not till 2030 when they go back to the negotiation table and the broadcast deal expires after the 2029 season. I don't know. But the fact that Ross Bjork is not saying, well, Fox makes the rules and we're just going to do it. They at least said, hey, can we do something else? I think that should be encouraging for Ohio State, that's now the mindset. And I'm not, I can't say that Gene Smith never would have done this. All I can say is that Ross Bjork is doing it.
I do think it's pretty impressive, right, that a school this size is listening to its fan base, right? And I think probably there's some sentiment within the program, too, that the players and the coaches would like some of these big games to be at night. Maybe. I don't know how that works. I asked DeVere about it, and he said from a player standpoint, he preferred to play at 3:30. He liked it like that. But it is what it is, right? And I do think Ross Bjork has said all the right stuff here in that he sympathizes with Ohio State fans. He understands that Fox has been a great partner for Ohio State. And at the same time, Texas has the right to do this. And I think you're right in saying that if the shoe's on the other foot, the Buckeyes probably don't want to play a night game in Austin.
No. Now they're going to have to.
Yes.
But, that's the other part is, do they want to give up, no matter who you play, there are only 12 guaranteed opportunities for you. Now we can go tongue-in-cheek with that and say, well, not for these teams. There's impossible for them to miss a bowl game. They're probably close to a lock as you can be to get to the college football playoff again. Does it really matter if you're following that up with a non-conference game that you can roll the helmet out and win? College football players and college football coaches are creatures of habit and routine, and they crave it. Dylan, you made a point there about would they like to play some of their bigger games in primetime? And I think there's an element of that where they would say, it'd be pretty cool to do that once in a while. But now it has also become a matter where Ohio State has got this down to a science every single week. The fans are not going to like it. They want to have some of these games under the lights, and I get it. But you ask Ryan Day, you ask Brian Hartline, you ask James Laurinaitis, you go down the list, and these guys, the veteran players, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, I think they'd say, yeah, we want the fans to get what they want, and we need them to be behind Ohio State. We need them to be loud. We need them to be energetic. But, we know where we stay. We know what time the bus leaves. We know what time we get out there for pregame, walkthroughs and warm-ups. And they get accustomed to that. And they got really good at it. They're not losing noon games in the Horseshoe. So as much as it may not have the same electricity for all these games, Ohio State has turned it into a pretty darn good home field advantage on the field no matter what.
With this said, the Buckeyes do get a night game. I understand it doesn't have the same juice as OSU Texas, but I do think there's juice in this OU-OSU matchup, right? It's going to be a big night in Ohio. People are going to be excited for it. A lot of folks coming up from Athens, I think, across the state. I mean, if you ask a lot of people in this state where they went to school, it's going to be Ohio University or Ohio State University, right? So I think this game, 7 o'clock kick at the Shoe against OU, September 13th, I think there's going to be juice right there. I'm happy it's a night game.
Hey, it's not the one you wanted.
Right.
I get that part, but you still get one. If you wanted a chance to go out and tailgate all day, and who doesn't want that, you got one. It's not Texas, all right? That's fine. I get that. And it may not be a game, may not be competitive into the third quarter. You may not be staying out all night long. Both of those things could be true. But you do have that opportunity. You know that you have it in advance. You can start making those plans. What's streaming on Peacock that night? You got a little bit of a favor there. And that's not the one that I think Ross Bjork is fighting for. But if people want to have a night game, they at least know that they can plan for one a couple months in advance and make the most out of that opportunity. And if you want to send a message to the broadcast partners, that's not the one to do it. Do it against Grambling. Don't worry about that one in the middle of the afternoon for a game that's going to be 77-0.
All right, we're going to keep it in the college football world after a quick break. That is because a new college football playoff model, a new 16-team format, is picking up some steam right now. We'll tell you more about it next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We've all got it, that one crazy thing you've always wanted to do, that bucket list goal. Then a cancer diagnosis, and that one thing still goes according to plan. I would know. I'm getting my first tattoo right now, while my 3 beautiful daughters laugh hysterically at me. 58 years old, 4 years of cancer-free checkups at Ohio Health. Go ahead and get a picture, girls. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
Beds are us. When dreams don't get in, beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us. When dreams don't get in, beds are us.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. And no matter what tasty choice you make, our low prices add up to big savings. Plus, you get over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump and points. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We here at The Fan believe there's no such thing as too much Ohio State coverage. You're locked into the Buckeye Show.
Dylan Tyrer, Austin Ward, prime time in the back on the Buckeye Show. We were just talking about the scheduling for Ohio State, the first 3 games of the season. Noon kick, 3:30 kick, 7 o'clock kick. That Texas game, unfortunately, not going to be a night game for Ohio State, but hypothetically could see those teams later in the season in a night game.
Could.
College football playoff, potentially.
Third time in 12 months, you think?
It's possible. It's possible. It's out there. But things could look a little bit different in 2026, right? So for 2025, this year's college football playoff, they're getting away from the automatic buys for the conference champions. And I think that was the largest complaint from everybody. And it was one of those things where if you're not super locked into college football, it gets to the college football playoff and you're sitting there watching these games and you're like, wait, what's going on? Why is it like this? This makes no sense. So I think the committee, after hearing all those complaints, said, all right, we need to make a change.
It's the alien test, right? If somebody just got dropped down, you're talking about, like, even a casual sports fan, they're not going to, why did you just settle on this? Well, they could at least get there and wrap their mind around it. Someone who has no concept, like, that's not how brackets work. That's not how math works. That's not how any of this works. It's astounding to me that that's what they landed on. And it worked out that, surprise, surprise, people still love college football. So that 12-team format produced some compelling games, not really so many in the first round, but they got very lucky as you moved on. Saw some games go down to the wire, had Ohio State go on their mission. We know what happened there, but you had two good semifinal games, and Notre Dame made that a more competitive game down the stretch, and it took third and Jeremiah for the Buckeyes to put that game away against Notre Dame. So they got, once they got to the end and you had the top four, you had the top eight, it's like, okay, well, this makes a lot of sense. It's almost like you could have stopped at 8 anyway and things would have worked. But now, as they look at this next wave, they've only given this 2 years, Dylan. It's like, and now you're not just changing the seating. They're trying to double this field. Well, what? We're going to quadruple it. We're going to go from 4 to 12, and then eventually 16 here. I don't love it. I think 16 is probably better. It makes more mathematical sense than 12. But I'll never understand how we got to this point with 12 in the middle.
You were right about that. I have no clue either, but you said something right there that triggered me. Triggered me positively.
Oh,
you said, turns out people like college football.
Yeah, they do, right?
And people like college football so much that they're thinking about pushing this thing to 16 teams in 2026. The problem now is, how are we going to decide who gets in? Who are those 16 teams? A couple of the conference heads have pitched this 4-4-2-2-1 idea. It's really spearheaded by the Big Ten, the SEC on board with it as well, where those conferences would get 4 automatic bids. Big 12, ACC would get 2 automatic bids, and then what? The last one would be the highest ranking conference champion, essentially, group of 6 team.
Yep.
So some of these smaller conferences, quote unquote, have pushed back on that. Now, some of the SEC coaches have pushed back on that as well. And there's a new model that's gaining some steam right now. It's a snowball rolling downhill, and they're calling it the 5+11 model. So it would be the 5 highest ranked conference champions and then 11 at-large teams that make the college football playoff. So essentially the top 16 teams in the country, you would think. But how do you determine who those 16 teams are when you're thinking, wait, the SEC doesn't play as many conference games as the Big Ten does. Are they going to add a 9th conference game? Strength of schedule. I think the SEC would argue that they play a tougher conference schedule than some of these other conferences. Where are you at with that? Because I kind of think they got to get the computers back involved in this conversation to figure out some sort of algorithm, something numbers-wise that you dial into a computer that makes it make sense, strength of schedule-wise.
Gosh, remember that old BCS formula?
Yes, I do. But now you've got the playoff. You just go BCS with the playoff.
Yeah, it's amusing as well, Dylan, to hear you talked about, so the SEC coaches, they had their meetings. They were down in Destin last week. You had Greg Sankey out there. He's handing out printouts of strength of schedule and how great the SEC
color-coded,
is.
highlighted.
Check this out. We're so much better. We need more than 4, actually. We would be doing you all a favor to limit the SEC to only 4 bids. But the arguments go round and round. It's so frustrating because first, well, let's use the computers. Let's take the human element out of it. Oh, well, that didn't work. It kept Auburn out from winning a national champion. Let's get rid of all these computer equations. Nobody understands how these work anyway. All right, so those are gone. And now, 20 years later, we're circling back to where we were before. It's like, well, actually, sometimes the committee's right, but they need to look at strength of schedule. We need to have more influence from the analytics. It's like, well, yeah, that's what they tried to give you before, and you said you didn't like it. They just, whatever they went wrong before, and we're all human. We can understand how this happens. Well, let's make an adjustment, and let's swing the other way. But there wasn't anything really inherently flawed, in my opinion, about those computer formulas because they were drawing from human data. You had, 12 or 13 polls that they were all pulling in there, and you throwing out your best one and dropping off the bottom one. It's like that was a pretty good system all told. So I don't love the selection committee because getting the human bias out of it is what we should all be trying to accomplish. They were all throwing up their arms. Some coaches like the selection committee, some hate it. Some athletic directors have been on the selection committee. They say it's great, and they let the numbers guide their decision. Well, when you're getting through 11 at-large teams, you're only going to rely on 12 or 13 human voters, you're going to have wild swings in there, and it's not going to be reliable data. So bring the computers back.
No, I do think that's the best way to go about it, because I think one of the larger complaints about BCS, right, was at that point there was no playoff. You're just coming up with the one team, coming up with the number 2 team, and they're playing each other for the national championship. Now, if a computer, I don't want to say if a computer makes a mistake, but if say that Alabama, for all intents and purposes, it's
always Alabama, by the way.
Sure, Clemson, who at Florida State a couple of years ago, whoever is that first team out.
Yeah, I'm serious. It is always Alabama is always right there, like with one side of the argument or another.
Yeah, Ohio State's been on the outside looking in before as well. But if you're that team that's out, the computers have you ranked here, and then you're the one team that's out. Now an opportunity to play in a playoff kind of puts that away, right? I know if you go to 16 teams, the 17th ranked team, the 18th ranked team, 19th, 20th, they're going to be those first few teams out. But I think at some point you do have to say it is what it is. I think that's the easiest way to do it. It makes sense to me is that I personally don't care about the eye test, the human element whatsoever. It's just a matter of having the playoff. Like when you get to those 16 teams, they're all going to be pretty good football teams, right? And I think the way everybody talks about it is there are 4 to 6 teams potentially that could win the national championship every season. There's some teams are just a tier above. But if you get to those 16 teams, you let them battle it out. I think we saw in the 12-team playoff this year what that looks like. Right. Some teams don't belong, right? Yep. It's just the fact of the matter. But now if you eliminate these automatic buys and you have, Oregon is playing the 16th ranked, however it's going to work out, however they do that. I don't know if they're going to give teams buys, whatever the case is. But you know what I'm saying? How playoffs should work. The good teams play the bad teams in the first round and so on.
And if they blow them out, they blow them out.
Exactly.
That's famously how the NCAA basketball tournament rose to prominence and started cashing billions of dollars. And that used to be the real financial engine driver for the NCAA. It's like, 16 teams weren't beating number 1 seeds, but people were watching and they were cheering for them until it finally happened. Like, this is great. Well, this is why March Madness is so awesome. Well, 16 seeds weren't winning the national championship, but you didn't keep them out of the field.
And I do think that's what people want to see, right? When it comes to the college football playoff, I think a huge draw, and I know we didn't see it happen last year, I think people wanted to see it happen, was maybe a team like SMU does beat a Penn State. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That one of these group of 5 teams, group of 6 teams gets in. Boise State upsets somebody. Ashton Genty goes crazy. That's what people want to see. Of course, here in Columbus, some of these bigger schools, people want to see those schools win, but
I think they wanted to see Boise win somewhere else, or Arizona State. I think they would have taken that.
Right. If there's an upset or two, people are into it.
Yeah. And I think what's fascinating to me about the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1-1-1-1-1 model
4-4-2-2-1
is that actually has a more clearly defined path for qualification. Mm-hmm. At least when you setting aside the final spot in or the group of 5 bid that might get convoluted. I don't like, and I think everybody seems to dislike, saying that the Big 12 and the ACC are guaranteed to get 2. They may not deserve 2 in some years, just the same way that, the Big 10 might not deserve 4 in some years. Mm-hmm. It can go either way, up or down. I think guaranteeing 4 to the Big 10 and the SEC seems a little bit wrong. Only giving 2 to the next 2 leagues doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But let's set aside that part. I don't like it, and I think that it's dumb and it's unfair, and all the coaches are going to complain about that even more so than, they're going to complain about whatever system comes out. But this one, the one good thing I would say about it is that you can start removing the computers and the human element if that's the format you went with. You would know that the Big Ten champion is getting in. The second place team in the Big Ten. The winner and loser of the Big Ten championship game are getting in. And then you're staging these extra rounds of playoff games where the thing that Tony Petitti seems to really want more than anything is this championship weekend in the Big Ten. And then 3 versus 6 are playing their way into the field and 4 versus 5 are playing their way into the field. That at least we could say you've removed the need for the computers. Good for you. The NFL, you don't have to argue with it. You know what the path is when the season starts. I think that's the biggest frustration is that we keep doing this every single year. And yeah, this is an unfair system with 4-4 and multiple bids for these leagues. And yeah, it's dumb. But they're trying to get to a point where they don't have to rely on either computers or a selection committee, which I applaud that. But if this is the way that they think they're going to accomplish it, that would be dumb.
We could talk about this forever. You and I are doing this again tomorrow, so maybe we just go right back.
Yeah, how much time you got?
We got to take a break right now. But today, honors for a Buckeye legend. We've got the details next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Going up. Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up.
Going up.
But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button.
Going down.
We've lowered prices. Get one line of 5G data for $40. Period. That's 20% lower. And you get a free Samsung 5G phone when you bring your number. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grill Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at the Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news, we fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on the Fan all season long. Yay, baseball. Get an Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Aaron. Hey, it's that time of year again. What time is that? The time all the air conditioners start breaking down. Oh, that time. Yep. Every year.
Get an Eco.
ECO. Like a swarm of bees. They all get together in a coordinated effort. You mean the Queen air conditioner tells them all to break down? Nah, they just get tuckered out in the heat, Aaron. Can we handle all the calls?
Sure, we have a swarm of highly trained coolness experts standing by.
Get Eco.
ECO. And we have $3.5 million in new service trucks to get them there the day you call.
The same day? Well, what if you don't call until...
We'll come as late as you'll stay up to let us in. Same day.
That explains all the revving engines.
It's like a beehive of activity, Jerry.
Do you know I invented that weird Scoopy thing you serve honey with?
You should invent something for ketchup, Jerry. It's America.
Ooh, now that's an idea.
Get Eco.
ECO. GetEco.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
All Buckeyes, all the time. You are listening to The Buckeye Show.
If you're with us on YouTube, we just had a very funny comment in our comment section based off of our last conversation surrounding the new college football playoff format, or at least the proposed format. Somebody said, Zach McGuire said, let AI be the selection committee. And I don't think he's talking to Allen Iverson.
No, but that would be an answer. That would be better than the selection committee, which I think, like, they have a tough job. I know that it's not easy to narrow that down, to parse through all that data, and they're humans and they have emotions, and some of them, if you think back to what happened with Reimer's Tar Heels with the NCAA selection committee for basketball, some of them have financial interests at stake. So it's difficult. But you know what doesn't have emotions? AI and the computers. So let's just find the solutions. The YouTube chat for the Fan is going to get it fixed.
Just imagine that selection show. You've got like somebody dressed in all black, like an executioner or something, sitting in front of a computer with ChatGPT open. ChatGPT, who should be in the college football playoff? And it just slowly spits out one team name after another.
Yeah. Well, you got to build drama. ChatGPT, make sure that you build in commercial breaks for ESPN as you spit out the bracket. All right. Don't take your time. We know that you can do this in 0.2 of a second, but, you know, tell us one team every 5 minutes. We got to make the graphics. Reese Davis has to pump it up.
I think ChatGPT could do that. AI would be good at doing that.
I think they'd probably be. Look, you put the data in, it's going to give you an answer. We might not like it. That was part of the problem with the old BCS formula.
You know something that AI can't do?
Eye test?
Play linebacker in college football at the Ohio State University.
Yet.
Yeah, that's true. Until they make some robot over in Japan that's the greatest middle linebacker of all time.
No, they're not going to top this guy.
James Laurinaitis was listed among the names nominated for the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame. I think this is, the 7th time that James Laurinaitis has been nominated. I was going down this list. There are, 70-plus names on it. I'm looking. I'm like, this guy's not in the College Football Hall of Fame? This guy's not in the College Football Hall of Fame? And I made my way to the bottom of the list, and I said, why don't they just put all these guys into the College Football Hall of Fame?
Got room.
They're amazing. There's so many good names on that list.
Which, on the one hand, gives you an appreciation and a realization for why James Laurinaitis might not already be in. On the other hand...
Oh, I don't get it.
We're talking about James Laurinaitis.
I don't get it.
He should have been in on the first ballot. He's a 3-time All-American. I don't even need to list the rest of his resume. That should be enough on its own.
3-time All-American, Bronco Nagurski Trophy, Best Defensive Player in College Football, Dick Butkus Award, the nation's best linebacker, Ronnie Lott Impact Trophy, excellence on and off the field, 2-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, 2007-2008, the last Buckeye to record 100 tackles in 3 consecutive seasons, number 7 in school history with 375 tackles. Think about what else he did. 13 sacks, 9 interceptions for a linebacker, school record for a linebacker, by the way, in a single season, 5 picks back in 2006. That's unbelievable stuff. And you're talking about a guy who's one of the greatest defenders ever at Ohio State.
Pretty good legacy there. That usually pushes it over the top because it's not like they're taking... And again, this is also why it's difficult. You're not just taking one player every year from every team in college football. Now, that would be overwhelming and would diminish the achievement. But given Ohio State's pecking order here in powerhouse programs and the fact that James Laurinaitis has that list of accomplishments, doing it at the highest level, it's almost unfathomable to me. And I know it's hard. And Hall of Fames are supposed to be difficult to get into. But I think you can stop at 3-time All-American, and that gets you in.
I agree with you 100%. Like, that was the first thing when they list off all the accolades. That's the first thing I see, and it's like, James Laurinaitis, 3-time All-American. Okay, and then you go through all the other stuff that I read off. I'm telling you, the names on this list, there's guys from, mid to late 90s on this list, guys from more modern college football on this list, like RG3 is on this list, as is Morton Anderson, which I can't believe neither one of those guys is already in the College Football Hall of Fame. But for a player like James Laurinaitis, that era, that vintage of Ohio State, he's one of the guys in that era for Ohio State football. On defense, maybe he is the guy, right? And he's not in the College Football Hall of Fame?
And he won't ever come out and complain about that. That's the kind of guy that he is, and that's not what he's striving to achieve anyway. I mean, that's what he did in college is what he did in college. So he can't change that. He can't influence the voters, and he's not going to go advocate for himself. But that's, Dylan, that's why we have to. Voters, wherever you're listening, stop messing around and put James Laurinaitis in. But he is still focused now on giving back to college football and finding a way to contribute now. What he's done in just, one full-time year as the linebackers coach for Ohio State, one where he was part-time and name only, but really helping lead that room as he got back and returned from Notre Dame. He's making the same kind of impact at Ohio State as a position coach that he made when he was playing the position. And a lot of people that perform at the level that James Laurinaitis did aren't able to successfully transition that from, why can't you do what I did? Like, they're not able to teach it that way. Why do you not see the game the way I do? And James Laurinaitis has not had that problem so far, which is a tribute to him and the personality that he has, the approach that he has to the game. And he's also recruiting at a very high level. Also important to have good players. They probably have a better chance of seeing the game the way that he did. But that was the question you think about 4 or 5 years ago when he was sitting across the table from Bo and doing great work, I thought, as a color commentator, coming to his own with BTN. It's like, does he need that? Does he want that? Does he have to have the grind? Does he want to go back into day-to-day, college football responsibilities? And he answered yes. And he's been so good at it. I think it shouldn't surprise anybody. The next thing that James Laurinaitis starts to do that he's not good at will maybe be the first, although he's not a great golfer. Ryan Days, I think, got him beat there a little bit, but maybe that'll be a challenge for the next coach's outing for him to pick it up, and I'm sure he will. But it's having him back around the alma mater, around the college game. Maybe that will be the thing that triggers people's memories, these voters, about just how dominant he was as a linebacker, and they fix this so that we don't have to have the same conversation next June.
That is a good point made by you. The fact that he's back in the college football landscape and in that conversation, I think it should help, right? Because so many names on this list, and I'm going up and down right now, and it's like, okay, I get that it's the College Football Hall of Fame. So many of these guys had great NFL careers. Of course, they were good college football players, but I'm looking, Cam Newton is one of the nominees on here, and I'm thinking Cam Newton's not in the College Football Hall of Fame, first-team All-American, Heisman Trophy winner. Mark Ingram's on this list. Alabama, the first Heisman Trophy winner in Alabama history, a unanimous first-team All-American. Mark Ingram is not in the College Football Hall of Fame. There are numerous guys on the list like that. Aaron Donald, another guy that's won every award in college football, unanimous All-American. But it goes back to that 3-time All-American for James Laurinaitis, on top of being, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year twice, and all these other trophies that we already listed off, the stats at Ohio State. It's like, okay, he's got 3 All-Americans and he's not in there. It's
I mean, you can safely assume that if you've won a Heisman Trophy, you're probably going to get into the College Football Hall of Fame. Like, everybody has voiced in real time what you thought of them relative to all of their peers in college football for that year. That is such a hallowed accomplishment, and it's going to stay that way forever. That is one of the most difficult individual awards that you could win at any level. So, that should get you in. Not going to argue against that point. But the All-American lists are the same way, because you have feedback from how everybody evaluated you relative to your peers at that time. And being an All-American once is not easy. Going back-to-back, not impossible, but very difficult. 3 times, pretty much unheard of. So you got that done. That should be your trump card.
You are right about that because it's so funny to me that, a guy that has a really good freshman season or a really good sophomore season, you're thinking that, okay, this guy's going to be a unanimous All-American every year. For a player like Jeremiah Smith, for example, is so good as a freshman last season. It's so hard to do that all over again. I do fully expect Jeremiah Smith to have even better
But he wasn't a first-team All-American by everybody a year ago. So.
Right. But it is, to just do it year after year it's next to impossible because, you get that respect, right? Other teams key in on you. Laurinaitis is a defender, so it's maybe a little bit different than a running back or a wide receiver or even a quarterback. But I think you understand what I'm saying. To put up those numbers year after year, 100 tackles and
not get hurt. Stay healthy.
Get hurt. Yeah, it's. I don't know if we're going to see very many guys do that anymore. To be honest with you,
we rarely did before.
Yeah.
James Laurinaitis did, and we're definitely not going to see it more in the future.
All right, time for another break. We've got the college football polls coming up. Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the news. We're talking about it. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Catch T-Bone and Tyvis weekday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not completely satisfied, we'll rewind time and erase your brain. For real, The Fan.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag Buckeyes Care.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus, The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good evening. I'm Jacob Reimer. Jake Diebler has added to his roster for the 2025-26 college basketball season, landing a commitment from Miles Hero. Hero is a three-star prospect and the 40th ranked point guard in the country that averaged 21 points a game as a senior last season in Milwaukee. He's also the brother of NBA All-Star and Miami Heat shooting guard Tyler Hero. After dropping 2 of 3 to the Cubs in Chicago over the weekend, the Reds return to Great American Ballpark for a 6-game homestand beginning tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently on a 7-game winning streak. Brady Singer will get things started on the mound for Cincinnati. First pitch is tonight at 7:10. The Guardians are off tonight and will begin a series with the Yankees in New York tomorrow. And the National Football Foundation released the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame ballot, and it includes former Buckeye and current linebackers coach James Laurinaitis. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
This YouTube chat is going crazy right now. I respect the heck out of it. You know, we were talking about AI determining the college football playoff.
Oh, they were listening to us, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Somebody's chimed in. I don't know if this is serious or not, but somebody said with advancements in computer vision AI being able to do, with advancements in computer vision AI being able to do the eye test seems possible soon.
Oh, okay. Well, I stand corrected on that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about computer vision.
I mean,
is that a thing?
That could be right. I don't know. How much further are we away from Terminators?
Reimer, what do you know about computer vision? Is that real?
I have no idea, to be honest.
I'm going to have to Google this in a little bit. All right, what do you got for us on the college football pulse?
So we do have a Bill Belichick
update. We're back,
baby.
There
you go, Austin. June 1st was a pretty big day in Chapel Hill because Bill Belichick's buyout drops by $9 million from $10 million to $1 million if he were to leave on his own to possibly go back to the NFL. Well, here we are, June 2nd, and nothing has been said. So will he coach week 1 against TCU, or will he be gone by then?
Well, I don't think that Bill Belichick is going to pay to leave. I think he's invested in this enough, and Jordan is so locked in to being the queen of Chapel Hill that she's not going to let him leave either. So they got to get that done. And North Carolina is on the hook for like $30 million guaranteed. So they're not going to fire him. They're not going to give up on these distractions or lean on these distractions to get rid of him. So it feels like rhyme time that I think we're going to see him week 1. I thought it was a little iffy there. 60 minutes, getting dicey, going to do whatever, catch a mermaid on the beach. Felt a little silly, but it, got to June, got through the meetings. I'm sure ACC Media Day is going to be riveting content.
Oh, my gosh.
But it feels like he'll be there.
We'll be all over that for the college football pulse. Don't you worry.
Do you think he's prepared for that? Like, it's Bill Belichick after all, right? Like, this is
That's a great question.
It's such a weird situation, first of all, and I've talked about it with a lot of different people because Bill Belichick has always been just such a stalwart. Guy's locked, sealed, tight.
Yeah.
Not getting anything out of him. You're still not really getting anything out of him. It's coming from around him. Do you think he knows what's coming?
That's such a great question because he is coming from the NFL and he's been through enough Super Bowl media days that he knows the circus. But I think even
that's always about football, though, for the most part.
Even that event, is also structured in a way where you're not going to have interview after interview after interview, and you're going to have to go because I haven't been to ACC media days ever, but I'm going to make an assumption that it's the same as Big Ten media days. So you're going to go into one room and you're going to talk to Fox, and then you're going to go into the next room and you're going to talk to CBS, and then you're going to go into the next room and you're going to talk to NBC, and then you're going to talk to ESPN.com, and then you're going to talk to this person. And because they don't want to just keep asking the same questions and they're trying to fill content for the entire year, that's how you get stuff like, hey, who's your favorite musical artist, or what's on your Apple playlist right now, or what do you like to eat? Questions that a normal human can answer very easily. Will Bill Belichick play along with this? Will they have to just scrap all the footage? Is he going to actually participate in it? I don't know the answer to that. It's a great question because that sounds like, to me, an absolutely miserable experience to try and cover Bill Belichick at media days. So that's supposed to be like a fun thing. Here's the football season, and maybe we'll talk about some things that don't have anything to do with football to lighten it up and show the personality of these people. But outside, unless unless he's posing on a beach, it doesn't seem like he's got any personality that he wants to show.
Is Jordan going to be there? Because I'm thinking...
There's got to be.
I'm thinking to the 60 Minutes deal, right? When
we're not answering that.
Yeah, we're not answering that. Bill's not... Is he going to have that opportunity there? What if somebody asks, how'd you guys meet? When did you guys meet? Somebody's going to have a lot of questions about it, I'm sure.
I think everyone should ask that until he answers it.
I don't hate that. Is the engagement still a thing, or did that go by the wayside?
That was what was originally reported.
Yeah.
Like she had told a select number of people that they were engaged and planning to get married, but I haven't seen anything more on that. So I assume it still is.
If you would have asked me about a month ago, would Bill Belichick coach the first game of the season for UNC, I would have said, no way. I think it's going to be over. I'm with you, though. Now we've reached this point, I think he's locked in. He's got at least 1 year in him, one season.
I think one. And then he can pay his $1 million and try and go get an NFL job. Although, again, like nobody wanted him.
What NFL team would hire him now that there's this added drama? That's kind of the weird
That's all the NFL is. Come on, what are we talking about?
That's true, but I don't know.
I mean, they passed on it in January, which is how North Carolina wound up in this spot anyway. I've got to this point where I make fun of conference media days because of this circus that I described, Dylan, and I am a little bit annoyed. People are like, oh, you get to go to Las Vegas and cover that. To fly across the country to talk to 3 Buckeyes and Ryan Day. I mean, I'll go anywhere to do my job, and it's better than not having one. But it was great. It was better in Indy, but I felt like it had outlived its usefulness. And I say all that as a build-up to admit that I would very much like to go to ACC Media Days right now. Yeah, I have nothing to do there except get sound for the College Football Pulse, but now...
I was going to say, we should send you as a special correspondent to the Buckeye Show just to bring this thing full circle for us.
I got to find out where it is.
It's in Charlotte.
It is in Charlotte?
Yeah.
Let's go, and then we'll play some golf.
Yeah, I was going to say, this guy he's got the key to the city after a couple of weeks ago.
Right. Well, now I'm on board. What else you got?
Michigan State has found their new athletic director. They're expected to hire Jay Batt from Georgia Tech. He's been the AD at Tech since 2022, started as the associate AD at East Carolina from 13 to 17, then was at Alabama as the deputy athletic director from 17 to 22. He'll replace Tom Izzo and Jennifer Smith, who served as co-interim athletic directors while the school made their search. Can he help get the football program back to what it once was?
I think the Alabama piece of that resume is why he's getting this job. The reputation, Pete Thamel's reporting. I don't know anything. I thought that this name was a misprint when I saw the headlines.
Oh, that's where I was going to go. This is a sick name. His name is not Jay. It's just J.
The letter J. Like J. That's a power move.
JBATT. J Bat.
I mean, I like the name. So if he can go have that sort of powerful, I'm a single letter and a bat with double T. He's got 2 T's in the last name and 1 J is his first name. I'm fascinated by this turn of events, but he's got a reputation for fundraising. He has seen the Alabama machine up close. So it's the combination of those 2 things, I think, that would draw Michigan State and the interest there. Can he make that happen? It's not like the Spartans haven't been willing to spend money on the 2 power programs with football and basketball. They have been. They just haven't been spending it as wisely as maybe they should. So I don't know if he can fix that part or address, maybe some of the issues that they've had, hiring and building out a staff on the football program. But that's certainly the charge here because you cannot fully succeed. Now, the Spartans Michigan State fans might argue, all they care about primarily is basketball. I get that. But in today's day and age, especially with the broadcast deals for football, if you're not going to be carrying your weight on that side, you are going to fall by the wayside.
You think he introduces himself to donors as the Batman? I'm the Batman.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'm telling you, this J-Bat thing, it's got some legs. He actually did make some hires at Georgia Tech, too. This guy's, he's done some things. Hired a new football coach, hired a new basketball coach. So he's got that experience under his belt.
Well, he's not going to have to hire a basketball coach because Tom Izzo is going to do that whenever he decides to be done.
Do you think Tom Izzo will give up being the interim AD?
Well, Reimer said he was going to, but I'll believe it when I see it. He's the shadow AD.
He's still running things behind the scenes.
It's a lot of power, man. You don't want to give that thing up.
It's Tom Izzo.
He's Commissioner Gordon for the Batman.
Got anything else after J-Bat?
How can you top it?
We can try to top it with some win totals. I want you guys to take some guesses on these. Over-under on win totals just in the Power Conference. Iowa, 7.5.
Oh, man. I actually grew up an Iowa fan. My dad went to Iowa, so I was a huge Iowa guy growing up. Drew Tate and the Buckeyes.
Ooh, okay.
I'll go over. Year 3 for their offensive coordinator?
7.5 feels like too much for me. I know I love to bet on Iowa. I always
unders.
Oh, the unders are just like, thank you for the free money. I don't know. They feel like a 7-5 team at best to me.
All right, Florida, 7.5.
That schedule's really rugged. I think I'd have to go under on 7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say just that SEC slate that they've got there. I got to go under 7.5 for the Gators as well. Too tough.
All right, TCU, 6.5, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're starting with an L week 1.
Yeah, that's Bill Belichick's first game, right?
Exactly.
When I was just talking about Bill's first game, would he be there? North Carolina, 1.5-point favorites to open against TCU. I don't have much on the TCU program these days.
Not really my power alley.
No,
I'll take them
more
over.
Jack Beck.
I do think that they're going to beat North Carolina because this Belichick distraction era, I love it. I'm living for it. But I don't know how it's going to translate to actual on-the-field productivity.
It's a night game in Keenan.
Okay.
TCU's got a returning quarterback. I like to.
Wait, it's a Sunday night game too, right?
Monday night game.
Monday night.
Yep,
baby.
Labor Day weekend.
All eyes are going to be on this game.
Yep.
I love TCU winning this game.
Where are we
TCU,
watching that?
Right here. We got 2 tiny TVs up there.
Just wondering, see what Rhyme Time's plans are.
Oh yeah, we'll have it on for sure.
I know that's my birthday weekend. We could do something special, guys.
Well, like we weren't on for Memorial Day. I didn't know if it was the same for Labor Day.
I don't know, since that's the first weekend.
I think the party's at your house.
Okay, I'm down for that.
Will the little one be out by then?
Could be.
Okay, yeah, maybe not. We'll let you sleep.
Last one. Well, I got 2 more. Syracuse, 5.5.
Over.
I think they're over. Yeah.
Okay, and then a bonus one. Group of 5. Navy, 8.5.
Blake Horvath back.
Okay.
Their quarterback this season.
Okay.
Got to keep him healthy. That's what they say. I'll go over. How about 9 wins for Navy this season? Why the heck not?
I'm not going to bet against our military might. Over. Take it.
All right, we're on Navy, baby.
I thought we were going to get like recommendations because I think Illinois is
I know what you're saying there.
Win total is too low.
We can do more another time. We got more college football pulses.
Well, what else? We got another one tomorrow?
Oh, of course.
All right, I'll wait for that.
All right, you come up with your own tomorrow, and that's where we'll be. All right, maybe some Big Ten specific over-unders.
That'll be fun.
All right, guys. Well, I guess speaking of the Big Ten, that's where we're going when we come back. It is the age of the transfer portal. We obviously have seen the immediate impact top transfers can have for their respective programs. But who are they going to be in the Big Ten this season? We'll discuss next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
For over 30 years, Schumacher Homes has been building affordable custom homes throughout the Buckeye State. Experience true customization on your land, your way, without any compromises. Come visit any of our 9 Ohio model home and design studio locations to see the latest in design trends and learn about our award-winning building process, or start online at SchumacherHomes.com. You'll be surprised how affordable a custom home will be. Schumacher Homes, proud home building sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ, because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership is better than ever. Save up to $1,100 each year on gas, groceries, delivery fees, and streaming options. With double fuel points, unlimited free delivery, and exclusive savings for members, there's so much to love about Boost. Sign up for a Boost membership today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Blue skies, light winds, and a great start to the week. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s on this Monday. Overnight will fall back down to the low to mid 50s with fair skies and light winds. More sunshine, a bit of haze, and a pleasant Tuesday, a bit warmer with highs in the low to mid 80s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
Are we drinking the scarlet and gray Kool-Aid? You bet we are. You're listening to the Buckeye Show.
Oh, more great discourse in our YouTube chat. I don't want to start off every segment that we come back talking about this, but there's just new comments like every 5 minutes on here that I'm absolutely loving. We've got which sets of eyes are training the AI computer vision?
Oh, boy.
And we've got a response: train all football games ever recorded. So use every game ever recorded, which is a great idea. Then overlay it with Paul Feinbaum commentary, since he's the authority figure that would be guiding it. Did you hear what Paul Feinbaum said, by the way, in regard to the college football playoff format discussion that we had? He said, Big Ten, SEC, just go rogue. You guys do what you want.
Now, that's an idea that I don't think anyone's going to get behind.
Yeah.
But that YouTube chat is something else. And you know what else you can get going on YouTube right now?
What's that?
If you're looking for more of me, which you're probably not, but if you want to see Berm, the Austin and Berm Show, and our show every morning, The Beat is now streaming on the Fans YouTube channel and the 10 TV Plus app. You can download the 10 TV Plus app today on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, or Roku, and stay locked in with the latest Buckeye talk anytime, anywhere. Do you prefer to listen? Just search Austin and Berm wherever you get your podcasts. The Beat with Austin and Berm is now available on your schedule. We are fired up. We got a lot of people, Dylan, that were asking for the last few weeks, is this going to be on YouTube? Is this going to be on YouTube? And I understand why. People are creatures of habit. That's where we were for a long time. We're back.
How's it going for you guys, by the way?
I just love to talk about the Buckeyes, man. It's going well. I think we started, we uploaded all of the episodes that people might have missed if they are YouTube only. We've been doing it on 10 TV and 10 TV Plus for the last few weeks to get the ball rolling. But we uploaded all the ones that if you only want to be on YouTube, they're there now. You can catch up. I think we added about 800 subscribers in the last 2 days.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's very exciting, encouraging. The stuff, people that have been downloading and subscribing on Apple, we've cracked the top 65 on the sports podcasts in the first 3 weeks of being up there. So all that stuff is really, really gratifying, encouraging. It's tough because it's the slowest time of the year. We're sitting here in the middle of list season, and the Buckeyes haven't been out on the practice field in a month and a half. They're in summer workouts. You don't have the recruiting camps and some of that stuff going on in May. I think May is the slowest month. And so the folks that have wanted to listen and have been listening when we're still talking about what happened in spring ball is pretty cool. So that feels good because we know that there's going to be a lot more pressing news and analysis and stuff to break down as we get rolling here into June and then building towards Big Ten Media Day and then July 31st, baby, training camp.
You said it, list season. Yeah. Earlier today, Tom Fernelli of CBS Sports. I really like Tom Fernelli, by the way. He does a lot of good stuff. He's also a good follow on social media, very funny. But he had a piece, Big Ten transfers poised to make instant impacts this season. Of course, Nico Iamaleava, which is still crazy to me to think that UCLA is a Big Ten team, but he goes from Tennessee to UCLA. Will certainly have an impact there. I don't know how good UCLA is going to be, though. I can never buy in to what the Bruins are selling.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
Because they're not.
Justice Haynes is another one that he has listed. Michigan running back, a transfer from Alabama. I think that could be a big one in the conference. I'm very, very curious to see what Justice Haynes looks like this season.
He's got plenty of upside. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Ohio State was involved in his initial recruitment. Couldn't win that against Alabama, so they thought very highly of him and his ability. I think, Tony Alford was handling that recruitment then and is the running backs coach now on the other side of the rivalry, so that made a little bit of perfect sense there. Ohio State decided to cast its lot when it went in the running back transfer portal with C.J. Donaldson, who I've been really excited to see. If Ohio State takes somebody out of the transfer portal, you can reasonably assume that they're going to make an impact because they're so selective and they're not relying on that every single year. If we're talking about Texas A&M or Ole Miss, it's like, all right, well, you're throwing a dart at the board. They're taking up 20, 25 players.
Was that pun intended for Ole Miss right there?
A little, yeah, a little bit. But when Ohio State's doing that, it's for a good reason. And C.J. Donaldson was a little bit of a surprise. I think, he didn't have eye-popping numbers at West Virginia. He looked, he's closer to 245, 250 pounds when he was there. And since he's arrived, it's like you're seeing, different version. He loses 25 pounds. He's talking about running like the Flash. And I didn't realize that he had been a track star in high school. And Carlos Lachlan is really working some wonders with him there. So I think that will be what I'm most interested about is that a head-to-head comparison. What is Justice Haynes providing for Michigan compared to C.J. Donaldson here, who my assumption in February going into spring camp was that James Peoples just wins that job and he's going to be the bell cow and the one that, Ohio State's going to lean on him, and C.J. Donaldson might finish off drives, be a short yardage specialist or touchdown vulture, but they sort of flipped or at least balanced out throughout spring camp. So I think that's an interesting one to watch for both parties. And that list, could have put everybody that Ohio State brought in because Max Clare's got the name recognition. Yep. But he was a bonus for Ohio State. He doesn't have to come in and be a superstar. Ethan Onyanwa, they need him to go out there and be the starting left tackle. I think if you're talking about players that with the biggest chance to make an impact, and you have to have somebody from Ohio State on this list or else nobody would click on it. That's the way the national media works. Onyanwa was the one for me, Don.
Okay, yeah, Max Clare is the guy that is listed for Ohio State on here, and it is always intriguing, right, with Ohio State because they don't bring in the sheer volume of transfers that some of these other teams do, and it's a testament to their recruiting and what they do in keeping guys at Ohio State too. And something that I think a lot of people on the Fan have talked about this summer is that Ohio State recruits guys that want to be at Ohio State, that they're going to be good people, good football players, but that they also want to be at Ohio State. So you're not frequently talking about impact transfers coming in for the Buckeyes, but like you said, the guys that do come in tend to be larger impact transfers, just in a smaller quantity. Think about Downs and what he was the
Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins. I mean, all guys like this. Justin Fields a few years ago, of course, was.
Well, and Will Howard comes in and wins a national championship in 1 year.
Certainly. But you didn't talk about anybody really on the defensive side of the ball, did you? That's where my curiosity lies. Like, are there guys, a couple of transfers on that side or a transfer on that side that intrigues you? And, I'm thinking along the defensive line because it's been a few years for me since Ohio State has really had that impact pass rusher, the defensive end guy.
Bo Atkinson,
Yes, it's hard for me. I was thinking about it driving over here. Like, of course, the Bosa brothers, Tyquan Lewis years ago. Even Jalen Holmes was an impact player for Ohio State. All these different guys. Chase Young. Felt like year after year, Ohio State had that impact pass rusher. The past couple of seasons, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, but for they were huge recruits, obviously, but they weren't those dominant guys.
They did ramp it up when they had to.
Yes, they did.
The playoff run was, in really the last 5-6 games, we saw them, the version that was promised, tapping into that potential and being the game wreckers that you're talking about. Now, they had moments, the second half of Jack Sawyer's junior season was dominant. He had 3 sacks in the Cotton Bowl. The one sort of highlight moment there, the Silver Bullets in a game that I would much rather forget having attended against Missouri. You had JT with one of the most unforgettable single-handed defensive performances that you're ever going to see the year before against Penn State. But in terms of putting it all together, you're right. You haven't seen you have to go put 3 offensive linemen against the Bosa to try and block them. You're not seeing Chase Young week after week after week being unstoppable and punching a ticket to New York City as a Heisman Trophy finalist. And I don't know if that will happen with this group. You have Caden Curry. You're talking about a transfer coming in. Atkinson had, I think, 7.5 sacks for North Carolina a year ago. So he's got some of that production, but not all. It didn't all come week after week. It sort of fits and starts in some bursts. So I think that'll be the part that he's got to tap into. Larry Johnson has, all the names that you mentioned. They learned from him, one of the most legendary position coaches that has existed in this sport. He's got that to work with, a veteran body and, certainly length and size and strength and maturity. That's a plus. Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson have been in this program for, this will be their senior years. They put in the time and effort waiting for Jack and JT to no longer be in their way. They've got to grab that chance. You have CJ Hicks in there, but, you have 2 transfers as well because Logan George also came up from the FCS level. Ohio State didn't do that by accident either. They have something that they believe in there. Ryan Day and Larry Johnson have talked about the heavy hands and the strength that he plays with. So you're piecing it together. Somebody out of those 5. CJ Hicks is a quote-unquote transfer from linebacker down to defensive end, so we can lump him in this conversation maybe, but that's where Ohio State's got to have it. And we thought that they might be looking for an impact player at defensive tackle. One didn't materialize, but they got one at end instead.
Anybody else in the conference that excites you? I'm excited by Indiana, Fernando Mendoza. New quarterback for them coming from Cal. I'm intrigued to see what that looks like.
I think Indiana with anybody. Last year they flipped their roster.
Yeah.
Curt Cignetti was overly reliant on the portal. And with what we talked about, just 5 minutes ago, Ohio State with recruiting, retention, development, this is Curt Cignetti going to be able to do some of that same thing? He's relying, on a transfer quarterback here for the second year in a row. There have been other programs in college football that show you that that's not sustainable. So I think it'll be intriguing to see how Indiana manages that. If you can get that same level of play, that was, NFL caliber stuff that was driving them at that position. So we'll see how that shakes out for them.
Lots of unknown in the conference going into the season. Who's got it toughest, though? When we come back, we'll talk about the hardest schedules and maybe some of the easiest schedules within the Big Ten. That's coming up. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
Hey friends, Beamer here. Listen to this. Wouldn't this sound nice? Clearer skin, better posture, improved digestion, better sleep, and more energy. Just a few of the endless benefits clients have received with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, we've got a boat for everyone. So come on down and find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The best damn radio show in the land. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Dylan Tyrer, Austin Ward, Jacob Reimer with you on a Monday evening. Talking about some impact transfers within the Big Ten Conference as far as it goes with football in our last segment. Now we're going to talk about some of the scheduling in the Big Ten Conference right now. Toughest schedules, easiest schedules. Brad Crawford of CBS Sports did a little ranking. 5 toughest and the 5 most favorable schedules within the Big Ten Conference. You said earlier you want to include Ohio State in these to get clicks. Ohio State not in this one.
Very surprised that they didn't. That's cardinal rule that they're breaking.
So the easiest schedule, or at least we'll call it the most favorable schedule in the Big Ten, goes to Maryland. And when looking at this slate of games, I'd have to say, yeah, it's not the most taxing. FAU, NIU, Towson, Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan State. Not a whole lot in there.
Which will make it even more difficult for Mike Loxley to justify keeping his job when they miss a bowl game again this year.
Ooh.
Because you look at it and you say, yeah, if you're evaluating the strength of schedule, this is not a difficult schedule. But we're thinking about if Ohio State played it or if Penn State played it, that would be a pretty smooth run through it. But we're talking about Maryland playing it. So suddenly a trip like going out to UCLA is a little bit more daunting. Playing, Rutgers has been a little bit of a headache for them too. And so, yes, when you're comparing it, that becomes the challenge. Like, is this the most favorable? I mean, yeah, I guess that's all that Maryland could ask for. Does it mean that they're going to go 10-2? Definitely not.
So I'm pretty interested by the team that he's got with the second easiest schedule in the conference, and that's Oregon. Last year's Big Ten champion. They essentially, on paper, they've got a path back.
Yep.
What do you think about the slate for Oregon this year? Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State, Penn State, Indiana, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, USC, and Washington. I can see a couple of games in there that could be surprise losses potentially based off of, hey, maybe USC's good this year. We talked about Iowa with their win total at 7.5 this season. Heck, maybe Washington can surprise them. But, I mean, it's kind of crazy to me to see no real marquee matchups for Oregon here. Penn State's obviously on the schedule, but nothing crazy out of conference.
One of the biggest games of the year. They're going, that's the whiteout in Happy Valley. So it's, they described it in this ranking as like a yellow brick road, or it's like they rolled out the carpet for Oregon. I don't know that that's the case here. They're very good. Oregon's going to be favored to win probably every single one of those games except the whiteout against Penn State. But they're going to be an interesting test of all the body clock and travel that we talked about a year ago, because you're talking about at Northwestern, at Penn State, at Rutgers, at Iowa. They have, the last road game for them is at Washington. They won't have, that's a normal travel setup for them, but that's a lot of going back and forth across the country for them. You wonder if that might trip them up at some point. Certainly they're going to have full attention on the Penn State game. It is at night. You have some chance to adjust there, but that'll wear on you going back and forth, and taking that trip all the way from Eugene to Piscataway. I don't think that's necessarily what the Ducks had in mind when they were signing up for Big Ten football.
As far as it goes with the toughest schedules in the conference, he's got Wisconsin slate ranked as the hardest, and USC's in there as well with the fourth toughest schedule. So those are a couple of ones where, hey, maybe Wisconsin picks up some big wins, games that we don't think they're going to win this season. Maybe that gets them in the conversation. Same goes for USC, I think. Maybe a surprise win here, surprise win there. Maybe that gets them into the conversation this season. You look at USC's schedule, they've got Michigan, Notre Dame, of course, another Iowa on there. They're going to go to Oregon, and of course, they've got UCLA. So there's some marquee-ish games on there that you could see later in the season, them being meaningful.
Yeah, I get a kick out of these lists sometimes. And yes, this is called the Buckeye Show. But for Ohio State to appear on the toughest schedule list, they would have to be playing themselves at some point. And so it's not a surprise that the three toughest on here, you have Wisconsin, you have Rutgers, you have Purdue. They all have to play Ohio State. So that is going to give them a boost no matter what. Ohio State, playing Texas, playing Penn State, playing Michigan is pretty difficult. And I think including that road trip to play Illinois, that's a sneaky game to throw on there. Going to Camp Randall, that's not easy. So I was a little bit surprised. We joked about national media, how they have to put Ohio State pictures in the featured image, how they have to mention the Buckeyes in all these stories to make sure that they can capture, the attention and the eyeballs of the most passionate fan base in college football. I think there actually is a legitimate case to put the Buckeyes in here for this toughest schedule. They don't play themselves outside of the spring game. That's already behind them. So you factor that in. But playing Texas, as we talked about, there's a reason that Fox took it. It's going to be a top 3 matchup. Penn State's going to be one of the most important games in the college football season. The rivalry stands on its own in the Big House this year. But it's not just those games. You're factoring in those what used to be the old Big Ten West programs. Illinois is not going to be a pushover. Wisconsin, Luke Fickell, this is a make or break type of year for him. He cannot hold anything back. The last time the Buckeyes went up there 2 years ago, they got into a little bit more of a fist fight than they were anticipating. So it's not like you can just chalk those up as nothing. So I do think that maybe it's not the most difficult in the Big Ten, but just because Ohio State is going to be favored in every single one of those games doesn't mean that it's not difficult.
Yeah, I think I would definitely put Ohio State's schedule. I get that some of those other teams are on the list for having the toughest schedules, like you said, because they have to play Ohio State, but not a lot of these teams have that marquee non-conference matchup that Ohio State does. And obviously that's huge when it comes to deciding rankings in the college football playoff and that sort of thing. People like to see those marquee matchups and early in a season, see how Ohio State stacks up against some of these better non-conference opponents. We've seen it the last few years with, it was going to be Oregon, right, before they were in the Big Ten. And Notre Dame, and we saw them face off, et cetera. I will say, though, you bring up that Wisconsin game going to Madison, and that's one that sticks out to me on the schedule for Ohio State this year, in that I hate using the whole trap game thing, right? Because I think everybody knows in college football how important every single game is every week. Now, with an expanded playoff, maybe not quite as important every week, but Ohio State can't necessarily afford to lose to a team like Wisconsin. But you look at the schedule, and you brought up liking Illinois a couple segments ago.
Yeah.
You said they're going to be a tougher opponent this year. I think a lot of people like Illinois this year as maybe a surprise team or an under-the-radar team in the Big Ten. So you're going to go to Illinois on October 11th and play there. Then you go to Madison a week later on the 18th and play there. And the next week, you've got Penn State in the shoe. Well,
after the
2
off
weeks.
week. Yep.
Yeah, they're going to have an off week, and then they've got Penn State in the shoe. That, to me, feels like an opportunity for Ohio State's going to have a first-year quarterback. They're going to have some new players on both sides of the ball. Of course, they've got returners from the national championship, but that feels to me like maybe a game that could be overlooked. Maybe.
Well, and you go into Champaign and get into that wind tunnel.
Yep.
Weird things happen there. It's going to be part of what we've seen with some of these closer games in the last few years when Ohio State has got into them, which doesn't happen very often. But you see maybe some times where they're bigger favorites, they don't cover the spread. What happens? You have an opponent that can take the air out of the football. We know that the Illini are going to, and Brett Bielema is going to be more than content to try and run the football, try and win as much of the time possession battle as he possibly can, and lean on a pretty rugged defense. Now, there's only and part of that is because there's only so many times you can stop Ohio State. New quarterback or not, Jeremiah Smith still on this team. Carnell Tate still on this team. Good backfield. Talked about C.J. Donaldson and James Peoples already. We know that Ohio State is going to be in position to put up points against anybody they play. But those games that have got a little bit wonky and a little bit sideways, and we don't, anything can happen with Big Ten weather, and it gets pretty weird at that particular stadium. That happens at Camp Randall too. Not saying that can't happen 2 weeks in a row, but the fact that you're also going, as you mentioned, you have to do that back to back. It's not easy, even when you're only going a handful of hours or a 2-hour flight, to do that back to back is a taxing thing on these younger athletes, even as elite as they are. But I just think, what's the formula there? Both of those teams historically would be able to run the ball and play defense. That's your best shot, is to get into more of a slugfest against Ohio State. And I think both coaches, Luke Fickell and Brett Bielema, are very well aware of that and comfortable living in that world.
I'm curious to see what it all looks like, right? We're going to get a good indication week one. Obviously the quarterback is such a big question this year for Ohio State, but you're going to get a good indication week one of what that looks like. And if it doesn't look good, then I think a lot of the rest of the schedule, games like that become more interesting, right?
That's what sets up to be so interesting about the entire year, because in 2014, there was the uncertainty in the first couple of weeks, not just the Virginia Tech loss.
Right.
The opener looked rough, and it's like, okay, well, this is what happens when you have a new quarterback. Think about how different that looked by November as JT Barrett got comfortable. Now, Ohio State had to regroup and do this again with Cardale Jones, but it's a growth process. Like, Ohio State's got the biggest challenges stretched out a little bit, but I think to view this as only week one against Texas and November opening up against Penn State and then closing with the rivalry game would be unfair to diminish this challenge of going on the road back-to-back against capable opponents. Not Wisconsin is going to be a college football playoff contender. Illinois is still a little bit of a dark horse. They're picked to win, 7-8 games. I think they could exceed that, but those are good teams, and they're well coached, and they're not going to be shy about putting some pressure on Lincoln Kienholz or Julian Sayin, however that does shake out. So they do have to be ready once you start turning that page, because also, Washington, you have 3 road games really in this stretch of a month that are going to put your bodies through the test.
All right, guys. Hashtag Buckeyes coming at you next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries. Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live online or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen.
That's just you drinking a Big Gulp from Speedway.
And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts. And for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at the Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Dylan Tyrer, Austin Ward, Jacob Reimer with you. It's the Buckeye Show. We're brought to you by Coors Light. I think my pick for #Buckeyes might be a Coors Light guy. I don't know.
There's a good chance of it.
Neil Shipley. #Buckeyes.
I think he might be an IC guy.
Yeah, you're right. Pittsburgh.
I think I might have asked him that once.
Did you?
I think so.
Well, I'm talking Neil Shipley because...
What's he doing?
He is trying to qualify for the U.S. Open, which, by the way, I think that's BS. He was the low am at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst last year. I think that should get you back in the U.S. Open the next year. It's not an automatic qualifier. He's won on the Korn Ferry Tour this year, by the way, but I don't like that our guy Neil Shipley has to qualify again, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to make the cut.
Oh.
The final qualifying at Emerald Dunes Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, they've not updated the scores in quite some time because I've been trying to track the big boat. He went 3 under par in his first round, his first 18, and they've got him right now at 1 under through 6 in his second round. That's got him 3 shots back of the cut line. It looks like 7 under par right now will qualify you for the U.S. Open out of that Emerald Dunes Golf Club grouping. You've got Luke Poulter, the son of Ian Poulter, Blades Brown, who's one of the top young players in the world, Frankie Harris, an amateur, and then Justin Hicks is the guys looking to qualify there. Those are the top 4. But Neil Shipley, like I said, I don't know what we've got actual update-wise because this is not timely, unfortunately, but he's got to do something big to get himself back in there.
I think he can do it.
Well, it would be a great story if he were able to play at Oakmont because he was a caddy there coming up.
That's right. That's another reason that he should have just been invited back. Storylines.
I hate it. He was the low am at the U.S. Open last year. He was the low am at the Masters.
He had an awesome year.
Yes, he did.
And he's doing some good things on the Korn Ferry Tour as well. I wanted him to make the cut a couple weeks back. He got the invite to the CJ Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked him for one and done. It's like, because I'm a big fan. Love him.
I love Neil Shipley.
He's great.
Seen him out there a couple of times at Scarlet. I was out there playing, and my buddy was like, hey, you know who that is? It's Neil Shipley over there. Just playing by himself, practicing.
Just a casual 65 around Scarlet.
Speaking of Kurt Signetti, right? Yeah. Coming from JMU. JMU to the Big Ten.
That's right. Pipeline.
Signetti, Neil Shipley. Who's yours? Who do you got?
Well, you got some more roster movement. Rhyme time. We were talking about this last week. Jake Diebler had at least one scholarship to spare with the reclassification there and the lose out in the signing class. Miles Hero, 3-star, famous last name, got some strong genetics, but doesn't seem like the position that Ohio State really needs. So they can't be done yet, can they?
No, this seems like a depth piece to me, just adding to the front court that seems to be already pretty stocked up. But I don't know. I hope that they can go after the wing. That's still what they need there.
Yeah, so you go out. Miles Hero, he's a younger brother of Tyler Hero. Looks like he is filling it up at the high school level. Never any shame in taking somebody who can do that or has proven that they can put the ball in the basket. That's a pretty key part of that game, I'm told. So if you've got some of that bloodline stuff going on, no downside. And it's a use it or lose it situation. You've got the scholarship. You've got the room on your roster. You might as well use it. If there's not a ton of options in the transfer portal, which that doesn't appear to be the case. Like it seems like they maybe narrowed their focus down to the international transfer portal, if that's a thing, or the transfer market there. We'll see what happens. But if you look at it, yes, Jake Diebler's making a move. There's some name recognition here. Feel like that can help. Probably not someone that you're saying is going to go be an instant impact player for Ohio State. They would need a different position and probably a more mature body. But you got to do something. It's better than doing nothing.
So on Jardy's post about the commitment of Miles Hero, somebody commented, still don't have a wing. And he responded to them, not done yet.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
do you have anybody for hashtag Buckeyes?
I don't.
All right. I've got an honorary one because I went and saw the new Mission Impossible movie yesterday.
Okay.
You know the Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he's pointing at himself on the screen? Everybody in the movie theater did that yesterday. Also, semi-spoiler alert, everybody in the movie theater did that yesterday when they flashed to a new scene underwater and Tom Cruise is on the USS Ohio.
Oh.
Hashtag Buckeyes.
Wow.
Ohio representation in the final Mission Impossible movie. And that was me. I was like, whoa,
there it is.
USS Ohio, babe. There we are.
I don't know if that surely that doesn't qualify as a mini spoiler. Like, we all knew that was the big set piece, right? Or one of the big set pieces with Tom Cruise going underwater to find a MacGuffin or whatever it is. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
It's good.
But I knew that he was going underwater.
He does go underwater. I won't spoil too much. There's a few different submarines.
Does he run?
He runs. He runs, baby. He runs. Does he wear a mask? Yeah, there are masks.
Yeah. Does he jump off something that he probably doesn't need to jump off of?
Yes. Yeah, does he hang off a plane at some point? It's got all the hits. It's got everything you want.
Well, that's what you're going to see if you're going to see Mission Impossible.
What do you got for us, right?
I did just think of a hashtag Buckeye.
All right, what do you have?
We do have a 5-1 playoff going on to get into the U.S. Open in Columbus at the Kinsale Golf and Fitness Club, and featuring some big names like Max Homa, Ricky Fowler, Cam Young. They're on the first playoff hole right now.
Is it a 5-for-1?
5-for-1.
Oh, my.
Where are you watching this, by the way?
It's on the Golf Channel.
All right. For anybody out there wanting to see this, like, this is big time stuff. What's the light situation?
Just drive on out to Kinsale.
How much light do they have left?
It still looks like there's some, but it's tough to really tell on TV right now. But there's a crowd surrounding the green of them right now. So it's getting pretty interesting.
It's got to be fun to be a member out there at Kinsale. Absolutely electric on your own course, going out there and watching these guys finish. Those are some big names in a playoff for one final spot.
They got a lot of pub 2 years ago on Full Swing.
Mm-hmm.
They were chronicling, was it Joel Damon's 36-hole extravaganza with some White Claws at the turn to try and get things rolling. Really cool that we have not just the Memorial, which is great, and at Jack's Place, which is on Jacob's hat. But that you have to they keep them around to qualify the next day. Golf's longest day. Very cool. Like, golf is so strong in Central Ohio.
The only thing that could make it better, Neil Shipley being out there in the playoff at Kinsale, too.
Yeah, why didn't he want to play locally? I wonder how he chose that one.
Who knows, man? Well, this was fun. It was fun to be with you guys. We get to do it all over again tomorrow. And coming up next, we've got the Brewers and Reds. It's a 2-2 tie going to the third. Thanks for being with us. This is the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Did you want information on the Ohio Lottery's Easy Play games? Okay. Easy Play games have everything needed to play printed on the ticket, so you never wait for a drawing. And with Easy Play Progressive games, they can instantly win the game's jackpot, which oftentimes grow and grow to over $1 million. All lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. Want another commercial? Okay.
We've discovered the perfect morning ritual, the 2 for $6 breakfast sandwich deal at Tim Hortons. Every sandwich is made to order with a freshly cracked egg and melty cheese, just the way breakfast should be. Choose between savory sausage or hickory smoked bacon, served on a toasted English muffin or flaky biscuit. There's no wrong way to mix and match this tasty deal. 2 breakfast sandwiches, just $6. Perfect. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, single item at regular menu price. Modifications and tax extra. Exclusions and additional terms apply.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Soy has been keeping secrets, and it's ready to share. Soybeans are among the most versatile agricultural products. They are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we all love and use every day. Ohio is leading the way, developing new uses for soybeans to support our changing world. Soy low-key slays, and I'm here for it. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
Where more than 1,700 scientists are working on new treatments and new hope for every form of cancer.
You're making the choice to have the most advanced treatments, many of which were developed right here.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint and the official wing sponsor